Hey guys, it's Luke, and as a follow-up to that video I put up in December about why I like most movies I watch, I decided to make a video about 10 animated movies I like that others dislike, and why. So enjoy, and spoilers ahead. So the first movie I want to talk about is Ugly Dolls. I know the reason others don't like this movie is that they feel like the movie is hypocritical with its messages of that it's okay to be different when the movie itself is not. And while I do agree that the movie is not entirely original and is a bit like Toy Story, I do think it has its own differences, such as what it's like for a toy before they end up with a kid. And I overall love this movie. And that is because of four things. The first being that I like and can connect with the movie's messages because I love being different. The second is that the songs are quite catchy, and The Ugly Truth is quite a villain song, Bob. And Unbreakable and Broken and Beautiful really resonate with me. The third is that Moxie is a great protagonist, and I can relate to her because she and I have similar traits, such as never giving up and having a positive perspective. And the fourth is that the voice acting is great, especially with Kelly Clarkson and Nick Jonas, the latter of whom I wouldn't have imagined playing a villain. And as this was Blake Shelton's second time in an animated movie, it was nice that he had a bigger role, since his role in the Angry Birds movie was pretty minor, though Friends was a great song. So overall, I don't care that it got negative reviews and failed at the box office, and I would recommend checking it out. Now I want to talk about Sponge on the Run. I know that for a while this was considered the weakest SpongeBob movie, but I honestly disagree because I really enjoyed it. That's because I thought it told a fun story and felt like a movie and not an episode, has amazing 3D visuals, and had a good amount of heart in it. And while I know that the Camp Coral flashbacks were a bit contradictory to episodes from the show, I still liked them, and I have been enjoying the Camp Coral show. But what I honestly liked the most from this movie was the song Here to the Formula Z, as well as the part when SpongeBob's friends were saying how much they care about him, which to me was super touchy, and that's one of two reasons why I liked this movie more than Sponge on Water, the other being that the trailer wasn't misleading like it was for that movie. Now, there is another SpongeBob movie that I'd like to talk about, which is Saving Bikini Bottom, the Sandy Cheeks movie. I do know that this is now considered to be the worst SpongeBob movie, but I still thought it was great. Now, I definitely did find flaws in the movie, such as Tsunami looking weird in the flashback, as well as not finding much character development aside from Sandy and Viewers. But I mainly enjoyed the movie because it was nice to meet Sandy's family and learn more about her origins, as well as the fact that the movie improved over Sponge on Water by having more amounts of live-action animation. And in general, the story to me was pretty engaging and fun. And now that I've talked about two SpongeBob movies here, I'd like to say that I'm excited for the two we're getting this year. Now, on to Wish. I really enjoyed this movie for a few reasons, and those are that the blend of 2D and 3D animation looked great, the songs were great, and I also really liked the themes of wishes and magic, and as well as thinking that the Easter eggs were a good homage to 100 Years of Disney. And I'd say the same for the credits as well, with the characters that they showed, even though there wasn't a character for Meet the Robinsons and the Rescues. But despite that and a few other flaws, it's still great to me, and I'm happy with it being the 100th year anniversary celebratory Disney film. Now I'd like to talk about Moana II. I admittedly liked this one a little bit more than the first, and that's mainly because I felt like they amped up the stakes more. And I also got really emotional and sad when Moana actually died trying to save her people. And it was a relief when she was revived as a demigod, which was very cool for me to see. And in addition, I liked that we got to see things that the first movie didn't have time for, such as Maui pulling an island with his fishing. And also, there were a lot of moments I found to be really sweet, such as the bond that Moana had with her little sister. Lastly, even without Lin-Manuel Miranda, I still enjoyed the songs in the movie, and I've listened to Can I Get a Chihu a lot, and think it's both a great motivational song and a great way to show how Maui had grown as a character since the first movie. Now, Cars 2 is what I'd like to talk about next. I know that people didn't like this movie because of Mater being the main character instead of McQueen, and it taking a different tone from the first movie. But for me personally, I liked the spy story, and I didn't mind Mater being the main character, and for the latter, that's because the character arc he goes through in the movie and how much he cares about McQueen makes it work for me. And admittedly, I could have said that in my Everything Wrong with Simpsons video for Cars 2 about that, rather than just simply saying yes, so that's why I'll just say it now. And in general, I think the movie is pretty fun to watch. It's definitely got its flaws, such as feeling like it should be rated PG and not G, as well as that I think the racing part of the story didn't get as much screen time as the spy part, but even those, it's still an enjoyable movie for me. Now let's talk about Shrek the Third. While I agree with others that this one isn't as good as the first two films and the humor also isn't quite as good, I still find this to be pretty fun and enjoyable. I think that Shrek goes through a good character arc and still has some good funny moments, such as Puss and Donkey switching bodies. The ending with the ogre babies is very sweet, and a lot of the fight scenes were fun to watch, especially the one with Fiona and the princesses invading the castle. And one reason why I prefer this over Forever After is because to me it felt a bit more consistent with its predecessors than the latter movie, since in it Shrek wanted to be feared again, despite him believing to be better off alone due to being feared in the first movie. Though to be clear, I still like that movie, but I just prefer this one. Now I'd like to talk about Trolls Band Together. While I enjoyed this and Ruby Gillman when I first saw them back in 2023, I admittedly liked this one a little bit more. Though for those who disagree with me, I still respect your opinions regardless. And a few reasons why is because I liked the visuals more, especially with Mount Rages, which I thought was very colorful. I found Velvet and Veneer to be more memorable villains. The songs were great, and the Better Place climax was pretty awesome to me. And it was nice learning more about Branch's past, aside from us already knowing from the first movie what happened to his grandmother. And another thing I really liked was the scene where Poppy told Branch that she wouldn't go anywhere unless it was with him, because I found that to be really touching. And sure, there are flaws, such as Tiny Diamond's part in the story not really going anywhere, but the movie was still pretty fun to me. And before we continue on, I'd like to say that after I put up my Everything Wrong with Simpsons video for this movie, I reflected on what it said about Poppy not being in the logo and realized that it wasn't the real logo scene. And while there have been things I've said in past videos that I later realized I should have thought more about, I did make that video in a rush to get it up on Gabriel Ortiz's birthday, and we'll be putting up a currently undecided video for his birthday this year. And with Fiction Boy's birthday, I am going to put up a video as well, though I can confirm that that's going to be Ralph Breaks the Internet, which was a suggestion from him. And yeah, admittedly, with the Trolls Band Together video, I was more focused on getting up on Gabe's birthday, that I kind of just put one thing and decided it was good. But to be clear, I have learned my lesson from what I said there. So now let's move on. Now let's talk about Ice Age Collision Course, and before I give my reason for this one, I'd like to say that with the exception of the Buck Wild movie, which is a 5 out of 10 me, I like the Ice Age movies in general. Now with this one, while it's definitely got flaws, I still find it to be entertaining. It was nice to see how some of the characters had grown since Continental Draft, such as Shira, who had a big development before, and I also liked seeing Sid get a love interest, and Brooke's my favorite character in the film. And the My Superstar song is a good jam. So while it's not the best Ice Age movie, it's still enjoyable to me. And the last animated movie I want to talk about in this video is Playmobil Beal the movie. And admittedly, I haven't seen this since November of 2020, so from what I remember, while it had some things in common with the Lego movie, I didn't see it as a complete copy of that movie, since I felt like it told its own story and had some good differences from the Lego movie. And I also remember thinking that the characters were pretty good, and Charlie was my favorite character from the movie. And with the songs, I've listened to them every now and then and think they're pretty catchy, especially give the people what they want. And with the Run Like the Road song, I think it's both a good song and a good reminder to not let things get you down. So while it's got some predictable moments and is just good to me, I still like it overall. So that was all 10 of them, and I hope you guys enjoyed the video. And I'm not sure when I'm going to put up the video about my drawings, but for the time being, I'm going to resume production on my video for Kung Fu Panda 2. And have a nice day.